Welcome back, everybody, to the movie reviews with your host, Pisces and Lore. Today we are discussing the movie Beast, directed by Baltazar Kormacor, if I'm not mistaken, starring Idris Elba. I know you call him Idris. His name is pronounced Idris, but I'm gonna be ignorant and call him Idris. Idris Elba. No, so we're talking about Beast. It's a pretty fun film. Um, I don't have a whole lot to say about it, unfortunately. You kind of know what you're getting into. I feel like when you go to see this movie, it's it's a survival thriller, I guess you'll call it. Um, they're being hunted by a lion. I don't feel like I'm spoiling a whole lot. I'm not. I'm not. I won't delve into like the whole story to avoid. I'll wait till later on to tell you about like everything. But as far as the premise, you have the father Idris Elba with his two daughters. They're on safari, and it's a lot of history, a lot of animosity, a lot of tension between him and his daughters. Um, and they have to work through their personal issues to remember what's most important, which is each other and the bond that they have with each other. Um, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was full of moments, full of moments like it does a really good job of making you feel a part of the action. It make you feel as if you are also under threat uh, of this beast. You know what I mean? So uh, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. If I gave it a score out of 10, I would give it I'll probably give it a 7. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that I give it a 7 in the sense that, like I said, you know what you're getting into. You kind of know what the movie is before you're just going to see some shit, right? You want to see it, and you get to see it. You get to see it. So on that premise, I will give it a 7. I will say, as good as the cinematography is, it's pretty good, but it's no Congo. If you've never seen the movie Congo, they do a really good job in that film of showing us Africa in the vicinity in which the movie takes place, right? Like they do a really great landscape shots. Not that this movie doesn't, but it doesn't focus on it as much as Congo does. And I only use the movie Congo because it's a great example of landscape cinematography to tell your story. Like the landscape itself has a story to tell, and this did too, but it was as a far smaller scale. It was very this location, that location, very like particular locations aside from this vast landscape, which is Africa, right? It's extremely vast, but the story takes place in a very minuscule part. So you get to see like a road, maybe a village type. You know what I mean? You don't get to see a whole lot. The movie doesn't take place all over. It takes place in this little area. So, but the acting is great. I tell you what, man. I tell you what. It seems like a thing more and more becoming more and more common in film these days that the children are portrayed as like these rude, back talking, mannerless children. It's like they have there's nothing instilled in them to prevent them from acting in this way. And I see it in a lot of movies lately. A lot of movies. Like I noticed it. I noticed it in Ghostbusters. I noticed it in what other film? I noticed it a lot in, say, like maybe I don't watch Stranger Things. I know it takes place in it, right? So, but it's like it's becoming a trope now, and I feel like I'm afraid that by by expressing this kind of behavior to a audience over and over and over again, it's going to start to like tack on and be taken home. And respect your parents, right? I don't know. I kind of got off, but there's a little bit of that in the movie, and but other than that, everybody does a really good job. The supporting actor, I can't remember his name at the moment, but if you've ever seen, oh my goodness, what's the movie where the guy is like an evictor and they putting out all these aliens from this like the shanty town, and he in the end he becomes one of them. I can't remember the name of this movie, but it's really good. It's really good, and the actor from that movie is the supporting actor in this, and he does a really good job. The CG on the Beast. Let's show the Beast real quick. The CG on the Beast was really good. Like I said, you felt like he was right there attacking you a lot of the time. A lot of the time, he was on. I wish I could blow it up for you, but I don't think I can. I don't think I could blow that up. But it was. They did a really good job with. I mean, you know, to be honest, he was probably this line was probably better done than live action Lion King. For real. For real. It was probably better done. It was probably better done. But if you got you see, I bought my ticket on the Sunday matinee style show, so I'm trying to avoid paying full price for something that I know what I'm getting into. But it was a good experience. Me and my son, he really liked it. And the whole time he was kind of like shoulder to shoulder, like ah! So it was very entertaining. Definitely worth the price of admission and some popcorn and a hot dog or something, and go and enjoy a nice movie, man. But I'm going to jump into the spoilers. I'm going to jump into everything right now. So if you don't want to hear nothing else about it, I suggest you leave now. Hope you enjoyed this part of the review. Stick around for a minute, and I'll be right back. And we back. All right, so story. The story is Idris Elba. He's like a doctor, and he's on vacation with his daughters. His ex-wife, just passed. The oldest daughter blames him for allowing the wife to get sick the way she did and pass away, and so she has this animosity towards him. The younger daughter is like in this corner, but she's also in her sister's corner. So it's like she's conflicted on her loyalty, but ultimately it's for her dad. They go to Africa, which is where the ex-wife was from. They go to like her, you know, her place of birth, to her roots, to try to be closer to her in spirit, right? Mother was a photographer, and so they get there, and the friend picks him up. He's like a anti-poacher. He's a this movie definitely. I didn't say this in the other part of the review, but it definitely touches on poaching, and the fact that there are anti-poachers. If you're not familiar with the anti-poacher, I definitely wasn't. An anti-poacher is exactly what it sounds like. Someone who goes out and kills or stops poachers by any means necessary. So the friend is anti-poacher. I guess you'll call him a conservationist. He wants to protect the wildlife. And he actually takes care of a lion pride himself. And that's a really impressive scene, because he's like really, I don't know if those lions are real, but they looked really good if they weren't. I'll say that. They looked really good, and they were like, you could tell they were highly trained. Like they were, man, it was a great scene of him interacting with the lion so intimately. And he tells them the story of how he tells them about the behaviors of lions, and that if a rogue was to approach the pride, then these two guys, the guys that he was all interacting with, these two guys they would come and they would tear whatever intruder apart, limb from limb. So the movie starts with a lion pride being decimated. I mean, completely decimated. Every lioness, every lion was murdered except one, which is the Beast. Okay, so like the entire movie, you don't know whether to like. You're torn between, you feel sorry for this lion because his pride has been taken from him, and he's kind of going berserk, and you also fear him because of this. You know what I mean? He can't be allowed to kind of just continue to kill humans. At the same time, the humans that he's been killing happen to be the ones that killed his pride. So it's a very, but except, okay, but he does decimate a village that had nothing to do with it. So he's definitely gone out of control. They, so the friend takes them out, takes the family out on safari. Nobody knows about this killer lion out. Nobody but the poachers. So they're driving and they come across the village, and the friend is he's well acquainted with the villagers. But they go into the village. He wants to look for some supplies or something of that nature, and they walk into it and they notice that everybody's gone. There are no villagers. All the villagers, they're like disappeared. Then they find the hut with like most of them ripped up and murdered. And he said like this looks like a lion attack, but lions don't do this. So he didn't understand like this. He couldn't wrap his mind around why everybody was dead in this way. So they drive off out of fear that the predator was still nearby, because there were no carrion beasts. There were no scavengers near the kill, which means like the predator is still around usually. So as they drive away from the village, they notice an injured man, and he's like mortally injured. And the friend's like, yeah, it's a lion. So he goes and gets his rifle out, and he goes to try to like. I hate when they do this, the Scooby-Doo shit. Let's split up, gang. Go back in the car, wait for me. I'm gonna go take care of this type. So he goes out. He goes out, man, and he finds the lion, all right, or the lion finds him, and he's in the point where he's incapacitated. He's actually bleeding to death by the next time we see him. But before that. So it's like we don't see the initial attack on the friend. We hear the scream, and as Idris Elba is like going like following him, trying to find him, he sees something. He turns around and hauls ass, and you know what's on him. So as the camera pans and it shows him running to the Jeep, and you see the grass moving behind him, and the lion is coming, and it's like roar! It's like right on his ass. So this is the movie, man. The movie is like man versus lion. Ultimately, and it's really good. It comes down to a final bout between Idris Elba and the lion. I've never seen the movie Revenant, but I've been told after seeing, from somebody who's seen both, that the scene with Idris Elba versus the lion is absolutely like the Black Revenant, right? Like instead of a white dude being attacked and mauled by a bear, it's this black man being attacked and mauled by this lion. And I tell you, the whole time it was happening, I felt every bite, every claw. I was right there with him, man. He had to, and I thought I knew he was gonna die, man. And I'm not gonna spoil everything, but man. Good fight. It was a good fight. Nothing that anybody could ever survive. Movie magic, I tell you. It definitely takes you in. It involves you. But yeah, man, that's it in a nutshell, man. And ultimately, because he cannot defeat the lion. I don't want to give it away. Go see Beast. Go check it out. Go check it out. Hope I done got you like, man, what happened next? Go see it. go see it. Or wait till it come on streaming, and you can save yourself some time and money or whatever, but definitely check it out when you get a chance. It's worth the watch. And if you like Idris Elba, he doesn't disappoint. He's a very good actor, and I can't wait to see what he does next. But that's my review of Beast. I hope you enjoyed that. Once again, I'm your host, Pricey and Lore. This is movie reviews on Scorpionic Dragon M.P.T. Like, sub, share. Holla at your boy. One.